About Last Night, Chapter 5, Deep Thoughts.
Are you sure you don't want me to come with you, Applejack?
The cowpony shook her head at her wife's worry. I'm sorry, Twi, but I think it's best you weren't there. My family's probably already worried sick about me, and I don't think you being there will convince them that this weren't done intentionally. She sighed, feeling pity for Applejack. With her whole family neither Camelot or the Crystal Empire, it was easy to keep this a little affair a secret from them. But for a partner whose family was so close-knit, there was no avoiding the issue.
Just make it clear this shouldn't affect anything long-term, and I think you'll be fine.
I hope so, the cowpony groaned. Her cheeks were already red. I'll see you tomorrow. You think you'll have an answer by then? Twilight lifted an eyebrow in a way that seemed a bit arrogant.
Relax. I'll have a way to undo this by then. At least with the rings. You just go home. I'll handle it.
Yeah, well, good luck, Twa. I'm counting on you.
Angel was not happy. He was losing control on the last area of his life he had any control over. He remembered back when he had control over the other pets. Winona was too stupid. Opal too self-absorbed, and Gummy too. Gummy to stop him or put up any sort of resistance. Aloysius came along. The first time they had met, Angel had committed him to do something, and he refused, on the grounds that Angel was more capable of fetching his own carrots. So he had slapped him. The owl glared at him, then flew up a bit and uncurled his beak, allowing his talents to be shown. From that moment forward, they were the best of friends, meaning that Angel did as he was told, or Aloysius might have a relapse back into the uncivilized state. After that, Fluttershy's critic group got the addition of that bear, who, while as dumb as Winona, was at least able to grasp that the one with big muscles didn't have to put up with a fluffy weakling. Fluttershy was his last area of control, though Iron Will had done a good deal to unravel that. But now there was the rainbowed one coming in and trying to give her a backbone. Soon, he'd have no control, and have to share a house with that slow wooden ball of slime Tank too. He was not about to let that happen, which is why the first thing he had done when he realized that they had arrived home was interrupt their sickening mating ritual to demand that his lunch be served. He made sure to be served first, and ate fast enough that by the time Fluttershy was finished, it would be time to wash the dishes. Unfortunately, the Rainbow One had opted to help Mama with a chore, and the work was getting done too fast. He thought about dirtying the plates that were already cleaned and making her work longer, but it was too easy to get caught. So as soon as the pair were done and were flying up to the bedroom to be alone, he had thrown a tantrum until Fluttershy agreed to style his tail, much to the Rainbowed One's annoyance. Another tantrum got him story time, and by now, her lover's patience was used up. You need to quit letting that bunny walk all over you, she had demanded, when he thought Angel wasn't listening. You don't live in Napone. You can say no to him. He just wants to spend time with... No, Fluttershy! Don't you see? He's trying to keep us from spending time together! Rainbow! Fluttershy chastised gently. Do you really think Angel would be so selfish? Her mere friend's level stare was all that was needed. Well, what should I do? Just ignore him! He's a pet! You are the master! You can't... A tossed carrot interrupted Rainbow Dash's diatribe as Angel stomped his feet and angrily pointed towards the outside. He wanted to go for a walk. Fluttershy gulped. Looking at her mere friend, she simply motioned at the rabbit, a clear sign to start being more assertive. Angel, don't you think we spent enough time together today? I would really like to spend some time with Angel began another tantrum, but he was caught off by Rainbow Dash grabbing him by the ears and hoisting him up. Dash, what are you... Fluttershy began, but her mare friend silenced her. You need to be tougher on him, she said firmly, walking over and placing him in one of the pet carriers. She threw him in and locked it. We call this the timeout room, the athletic mare said, turning back to her mate. Don't you think that's a little mean? No! Angel needs to learn how to behave. She picked up the cage, with Angel desperately rattling against his prison. I'm going to put this outside, somewhere in the backyard. Then we're going to do a little snuggling to get your mind off of things. Well, okay. Just stay out of my shed. What? That's where I keep the nocturnal animals that come to me for treatment. Opening the door with its sunlight in, and that could hurt their eyes. Oh. As he was carried out, Angel fumed, glaring at his hated enemy. The rainbowed one would pay. He swore it. Applejack felt her stomach turn in flip-flops as she strode up to the farmhouse. Gulping, she looked down at the golden wedding band, still clamped tightly around her forehoof. She considered trying to hide it, but quickly dismissed the notion. Even if she could find a way to do so, she'd have to tell them sometime. Best get it over with. Taking a deep breath, she entered the house yelling, I'm home! AJ, may you? Granny Smith called out. Get your flag in here and help me. Dinner needs to get ready, and your brother has his hooves full. Applejack did as she was told, entering the kitchen to see the matriarch of the Apple family in the midst of the preparation. As she hit the kettle with a wooden spoon, she turned to her granddaughter. Where you been all day, anywho? The farm pony blushed. Well. Thankfully, she was spared from answering by Big Macintosh sticking his head in the doorway.
Where do we keep the paint stripper?
Applejack turned. In the... What the hey?
Pinky.
Max said bluntly, still grimacing at the dried pink paint. His eyes dripped down to the golden band on his sister's hoof.
Since when do you wear jewelry?
Applejack looked down and blushed. I'll explain at dinner. It's kind of a long story. Suddenly, Big Mac was right in front of his sister, giving her a dangerous look.
What happened to you last night?
She blinked. What the hey got you so upset?
This Pinky tied me to my bed and painted me pink. Miss Rarity went teleported me to...
Wait, Rarity teleported? The alarm in Applejack's voice got her brother to stop a moment.
Yup.
Instantly, the middle child began to panic. Well, I said I was dangerous to do while you're drunk. I couldn't find her this morning. I gotta go back to the library until 12.
You don't have to worry, Pinky chirped, suddenly entering the room.
Instantly, Big Mac let out a yell and backed up, hitting the cabinets in a futile effort to get away.
Please don't hurt me!
He whimpered. Pinky tilted her head, then giggled.
You look silly. Who painted your fur like...
Pinky? Applejack said sternly. You were saying something about Rarity?
Huh? Oh yeah, I saw Rarity. She's going to a fashion convention in Manhattan, and she said she was going to go to Camelot first for some supplies. She's fine.
Really? That's kind of sudden without telling us.
Hey, you didn't tell us you were going to get married to Twilight until this morning!
What? Came the cry of the other two apples.
Oh, you haven't told them yet?
No, Pinky, I haven't, she answered through gritted teeth.
My grandbaby's getting married!
Granny Smith said excitedly.
Oh, Dolly, I better round up the cake for the wedding.
Oh, Granny, wait! But she was caught off by Big Mac throwing the squirrel eggs around her.
My baby sister, you're all grown up.
He said with tears in his eyes.
And marrying a big city pony, too. I'm so proud of you. I get to give you away, don't I?
Big Mac.
Even amongst the madness, her brother's pride was wonderful to hear.
Oh, the wedding's already happened!
That caused them to stop.
What?
Applejack blushed.
I had a little too much last night, and, well, I kind of woke up married at why.
There was silence.
I see,
Granny Smith said at last, her voice neutral.
and what are you fixing to do about this?
Applejack shifted nervously.
Well, twice of the marriage is invalid since we was drunk, so we're gonna get an annulment.
It'll be like it never happened.
I see.
The matriarch said at last.
It ain't a divorce?
No, ma'am.
Well, alright then. Can you go fetch me some apples from out of the orchard?
Applejack blinked at a quick dismissal.
You ain't mad?
Granny shook her head, a smile crossing her lips.
Darling, y'all do crazy things when you're young. Why, I remember the one summer when me and your great cousin Apple Rose took one to me bugs. Let me tell you, waking up in the sea of slam was not the greatest thing, but it was worth it for that night. Them stallions, they were good.
Both Applejack and Big Mac's eyes widened.
Granny!
The younger Mary said weakly.
I really don't think we need to hear this.
Of course you do. It's important to know where your pappy came from.
What?
Was a cry of both grandchildren.
What? Our pa? Hilda?
Applejack said faintly, though she regained some of her senses when she noticed her grandmother was laughing uproariously.
You're pulling our leg, ain't you?
Applejack said bluntly.
Yes, sirree! You youngins are so easy.
Granny.
Big Mac said disapprovingly, but Pinky cut him off.
So why is your fur pink?
Remembering who else was in the room, the stallion backs up against the cabinet once more.
You painted it.
I did?
Pinky tilted her head.
I don't remember that. Oh well, here. I hope you get it off.
That's alright. I'm fine with.
But Pinky, who was a lot stronger than she looked, just pulled on.
Don't worry, I know a great trick for getting paint off. I used it every time I used paint when I was little.
Big Mac gulped and looked to Granny Smith for help. She just kept laughing. Twilight could barely concentrate on her research. It made sense because she wasn't following a basic rule that Celestia had taught her about research. Namely that one should always concentrate on one problem at a time. In this case, she had 3. Finding a spell to remove the rings was a subject she has given top priority. She has found several spells that could have been the one she was looking for, and through process of elimination, she has found the most likely one. Once Applejack arrived the next day, she would try it. The following problem was finding out who had been responsible for this whole mess. They didn't have very many enemies, none that still lived, at any rate. She racked her brain trying to come up with a suspect that wasn't in the meager list they had. The final puzzle was the one that had carelessly entered her mind during her research. It would simply not leave, despite her best efforts to shoo it out. Was she attracted to Applejack? She had married her, after all. Drunkenly, true. But as she had said, alcohol didn't change who you were attracted to. Not completely, anyway. And like she had noted, she was pretty. She tried focusing on her research, but a thought came back again. Applejack. She was a mare she respected. A bit lacking in book smarts, true, but any pony who dismissed her as stupid was sadly mistaken. She was clever when she needed to be, and practical at all times, something she admired. She grinned. Even that first day, when she was in a hurry to get back to researching Nightmare Moon. She had fun at the reunion, and she had loved her cooking.
She mused a bit. Clever, practical, family meant a good deal to her. She got along well with Spike and the rest of her family. They both thought the other was cute. She thought on Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash. Their first reaction to being attracted to each other while drunk was to try a relationship. Maybe that was logical. She shook her head. Love wasn't logical. That's what every pony said. She had found friendship illogical, but she was still willing to give up anything for it. What should she do? She thought a moment longer. Would Applejack even approve of such a relationship? Then she had to start. Through the haziness of the night before, she remembered her conversation with Applejack.
You go on off and forget all about Ponyville. And me, I'll be stuck in this barn till as old as Granny Smith.
Her eyes widened as all other thoughts processes stopped cold. She mentally cursed herself. How could she forget? Her friend was hurting. They needed to have a talk. She pushed the thought aside. She couldn't do anything right now, and she had more work to do. She looked over her list of suspects once more. Reading the list ranked from top to bottom in order most likely. Chrysalis topped the chart, followed by Discord, Trixie, Flim and Flam, and Gilda ending last. She pawed her chin. Chrysalis would be the worst, since there was no way to investigate her without knowing her location. Something no pony knew at the moment. She knew where Trixie was thanks to the flow of news. She had made it to Manhattan, where she had managed a stage show that was getting attention. Gilda and the Flim Flam brothers would be harder to find, but it was still doable. She took a deep breath. Now came the hard part. "Spike," she called, "I need you to take a letter."
Please, Miss Pinky.
Big Mac whined as his fellow Earth pony scrubbed him. Not hard like he expected. She was surprisingly gentle. But this was the same mare that had put him in this position in the first place.
Can't do it.
She shook her head as she washed off his paint with a mixture she had brewed herself. It was amazingly solvent to the paint, so she saw no reason in leaving.
I made this mess. I'm going to clean it up.
That's kind of you. But really.
He jerked back as Pinky moved to his back legs, knowing his equipment was near there.
That's fine, Miss Pinky. I'll get there myself.
You sure?
She quizzed. Pinky, Applejack noted as she watched her bother getting bathed. Can just soaking in this stuff get off?
But it takes so long.
Well, maybe Big Mac would enjoy it so, wouldn't you say? The stallion nodded vigorously.
Yes. Yes, I can handle it, Miss Pinky. You really can go now.
You need some pony to talk to, and I have plenty to talk about. Ooh, I got a great way to make a chimichurri.
Pinky, Applejack said carefully. Could you go out with Granny Smith and make dinner? I need to have a word with my brother.
Do I have...
Pinky! The cow pony repeated sternly.
Okay.
Pinky said, disappointed. She brightened up quickly.
Ooh, maybe I can get the pie recipe from her.
The two apples watched their friend bounce back towards the farmhouse. As Big Mac breathed a sigh of relief, his sister turned to him. Listen, Big Mac. I want to know all that stuff you said about me and Twa. You really have been happy if I married her? The stallion looked at her oddly.
Of course I would. I'd be happy if you found yourself a mare to settle down with.
Applejack smiled. She had discovered her orientation at 15, and Big Mac and Granny Smith immediately switched from telling her to find a stallion to telling her to find a mare and a nice foal who needed a home. Well, I meant Twa specifically. If I really wanted to marry her, would y'all be alright with it? That got a look.
Of course. Miss Twilight's a sweet mare. I see her cuddle that old dragon of hers, and she's successful, beautiful. I know you'd be in good hooves.
But you know I have to leave the farm, right? she said suddenly, sounding exasperated. Twi ain't gonna be happy staying here forever. She's a married class. Whatever the princess is teaching her, she ain't gonna waste it here. There's nothing here I could offer any pony. Big Macintosh looked at her sister with worried eyes.
It sounds like you've been thinking hard about this.
Applejack's eyes widened, as if she had just realized what she said. Well, she sighed.
Sis, if you like Miss Twilight...
I never said that, she snapped.
She calmed down. Getting an element and becoming friends with Twi, I guess it got me seeing things different. In a good way. I never would have been such good friends with Rainbow, or Pinky, or Fluttershy. Heck, I probably would have never even talked to Rare without absolutely needing it. And now, I wouldn't have traded her for anything. I'm happy, but... Big Macintosh tilted his head.
Are you not happy on the farm?
Of course not, she pleaded. I love it here, but I think that's the problem. She sighed. I'm always going out of town now, and, well, when we went to the wedding, she gulped. I'm just starting to wonder if I'm ever going to find any pony to settle down with. We haven't had a problem for several generations. Applejack hung her head. We hardly left Ponyville in that time. I'm always out and about.
Not that much.
Her brother tried to argue.
What makes you think no pony out there would find you attractive?
She shifted her eyes a bit. Well, really, I think it's just being around the others. Big Mac raised an eyebrow.
What's that mean?
I mean, look at Rarity, or Fluttershy, or even Twilight. They got stallions looking them up and down. Even if Twilight don't realize it half the time. Ponies admire Rainbow because she can do all those tricks. But me, I'm stuck here.
AJ.
Big Mac groaned. It hurt seeing his sister like this, but she kept going. I'm nothing special. I got no magic, no wings, no fashion sense, no whatever it is Pinky has. I don't got anything to offer any mare, much less one like Twi. Big Macintosh pulled himself out of the tub. This alarmed his sister, who tried to stop him. Big Mac, what the hey? She began before he wrapped his forelegs around her in a gentle hug.
Applejack, listen to me. You're a beautiful, young mare. You're gonna make some pony happy someday. I know it. Don't be talking about yourself like that.
She blushed as she hugged back. I know. I guess I don't know. Irregardless, my friends are gonna drift away from me one day. I'm gonna miss him. I'm just scared when that happens. Big Mac parted, then cupped her sister's chin.
You want to talk about it a little more?
She shifted. Well, at that point, Granny Smith's voice fell from the farmhouse.
Applejack, get your hide 'em here! Your sister just got home and Shampoo is gonna have to explain this to her!
Applejack cringed, looking at her home. She turned back to her brother, who gave her a look that told her that her conversation wasn't over, then motioned her to go. So, you see, Applejack said carefully, me and Twi had too much of the adult drinks.
Y'all got smashed?
Apple Bloom asked. The three older apples widened their eyes at the filly's knowledge. Angrily, Granny Smith came forward, ready to cuff her granddaughter's ears.
Where the hell did you learn such language? Last night, Spot taught us all the words he learned from an actual prince.
Applejack felt her eye twitch. Well, just had to tell Twi what her kid's been up to. Anyway, last night after me and Twi got smashed,
We kinda accidentally married each other. There was a moment of silence.
Really? That's neat!
The three older apples looked at each other with a bit of shock. Apple Bloom, why are you so happy about this?
Twilight will be a cool sister-in-law. She knows all the magic and everything.
Granny Smith and Big Macintosh both seemed a bit put off by this, but Applejack just sighed. Don't get too attracted now. Me and Twilight already agreed to get it all. We're gonna do it as soon as possible.
Aww,
Apple Bloom sulked.
but you two will be so cute together.
Applejack blushed, while Granny Smith snorted with suppressed laughter. Well, I'm sorry, she said, but we ain't staying together, and I don't want no matchmaking either. They were all pretty sure Big Mac was blushing under his coat, remembering the incident with Miss Cheerily. Apple Bloom kicked the ground, but muttered forced, "Okay." Rarity groaned as she finished her last sketch. She hunted on her billboard with the other 5. The basic designs were done. Now all that's left was the labor. She looked around her bedroom and workroom, a place she was not allowed to leave except under escort. There was a sewing machine, a few palanquins, and a library of fabric and accessories of every color. Blueblood was keeping her well supplied, at least. She was just getting out her first roll when Blueblood came in. Behind him were a few baggage handlers, carrying a generous amount of rarity scenes. "Where you want this put?" one of the workers asked.
Clothes in closet, fabrics near the workbench. I'll sort everything out later.
The mayor answered, returning to her work and making a point not to talk to Blueblood. Unfortunately, the prince had something to say anyway.
As soon as we leave, get cleaned and put on your best dress.
Rarity froze, a chill running down her back.
Why ever would I do that?
She asked icily.
Our cover is that we're dating, remember? We need to put up the appearance. I would have liked to have started this a month ago, but beggars can't be choosers, I suppose.
No!
Rarity said quickly.
I absolutely refuse to partake in this. You are taking advantage of me.
Oh yes, how dare I treat you to a meal at the 5-star restaurant?
It was said without losing the smug tone, which annoyed her more than if it had been said sarcastically.
Honestly, it's either that or gruel.
Gruel? How could you treat a lady like this?
Because the lady in question committed a felony and is being punished for it. Honestly, you might get some nice surroundings, but don't forget, this is a prison, not a vacation.
Rarity gritted her teeth. She couldn't argue with that, which made it all the more infuriating.
Your best dress. I have to be with a man who looks good.